If you've done any of the previous pathways, you may have seen, depending on which pathway you took, right? There's a lot of nooks and crannies. You may have seen me mention the affirmation wall before. I think it would have been in the engagement pathway with fostering a community, an engaging community, and removing some of those barriers. It's just about developing relationships, right? But if we're thinking about social engagement with our students, then well, let me pop up here to the standards and benchmarks. Demonstrating a sense of school and community and contributing productively to your school, workplace, and community. And I think one of the frustrations we have as teachers, or one of the ones that I had, I guess I should keep that a little more focused on me and not assume other people's intentions or thoughts. But one of the frustrations I had is that my students weren't nice to each other. And then if I was truly honest and I stopped and reflected, I had to ask myself, when am I giving them intentional instructions or opportunities on how to be nice to each other? I'm going to take these off on how to be nice to each other and when they should be doing that. Obviously, all the time, but that is a skill that needs to be taught. We have a tendency to think that students should just be nice to each other because we should just be good people, but teaching them and giving them the opportunities to do that is very important. Enter the affirmation wall. So if I click and scroll and boom, there are 3 resources down here for you that you can click on that will help you get up and going. But ultimately, this is something that I implemented in my classroom and have seen other teachers do, and it's stolen absolutely from this blog I found when I was in the classroom. The idea here is to give students the opportunity and teach them how to write each other affirmations. And this is not a compliment. And that's very, very important. So the first thing you need to know is this takes some intentional teaching with your students. Because they're going to want to start off by saying nice things to each other like, I like your shoes, you have good hair. And those are surface level compliments, and they're not affirmations. An affirmation, an assertion that something exists is true, and this is the very baseline, but I mean, you need to do some intentional reflection on this on your own. An affirmation is, I saw you do something and I'm going to recognize that. And so I would teach my students that you're going to be writing your classmates and your peers affirmations, and you're going to be saying like things like, I saw you stop and help that person who dropped their books in the hallway and everyone else was walking past them, and you took the time to stop and you helped them pick up their books and you made sure they were okay when nobody else did that. That's making our community better. That is showing that you care for your peers, even though you didn't know that person. Right? This is just an example, and that was a good thing that you did. Right? That's much more deep and personal and intentional, and it means more. And kids are far more used to giving those surface level and shallow compliments. Affirmations are hard. They're really, really, really hard. But if we give students the time and the intentionality of noticing things about their peers, then we can start to develop that social engagement, right? We can start to give students that opportunity to positively contribute to their environment. This is just one way to go about it. This does take this is an undertaking. This isn't something you just drag and drop into your classroom, right? Because it takes intentional teaching around what an affirmation is. It takes intentional setup on your part, and I will go very briefly on how to set up an affirmation wall system in your class, but that can all be found also here on this blog post. And then tweak it to whatever you think is best. So this can be a really, really, really powerful way to give your students the opportunity and the avenue to positively contribute to their school environment. And so the most basic version of this is you give students the opportunity to write affirmations. You build that time in intentionally. And then you build an affirmation wall into your classroom. And so you give each student a note card holder and a number, and that's going to be their mailbox. So notice the numbers on the note card holders here and the color behind. So like this person, whoever they are, their mailbox address is purple 16. And so then when Stefan wants to write an affirmation to Anna, then instead of writing Anna's name on the card, Stefan's going to write purple 16. And then he's going to put it in the outgoing mailbox. So I have my students write affirmations, and they don't deliver it themselves. They put it in the mailbox. I collect them. I read through them, just kind of filter, and it's nice to see your kids say nice things. And then I stamp them to mark that, yes, the teacher has seen it. And then I deliver them face down to the mailboxes. It is much easier for me to say, purple 16, red 3, yellow 2, green 30, whatever, than it is to say, okay, where's Stefan Troutman? And okay, it's here. And like that takes a lot longer. So it saves you a ton of time. And so that's basically it. You have your students that give them the opportunity to write affirmations. You tell them they can do it passively, but you also have to build in that time for them to do it, and then you can deliver them. It can really change the culture of a classroom if done with fidelity, and then tweaked to make it fit your situation. All right, that was kind of a long explanation. Go ahead and dig in if this is something you're interested in.